All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another webinar. My name is Augustas Kligis. You probably know me from one of the virtual summits I organized in the past. Most recent was Seller Optimization Summit. And one of the speakers, well, let's start with the topic. So one of the most interesting, most popular topic during the last summit was brand building. And it's quite interesting topic for myself as well. And I had several speakers, but nobody really talked from the foundation. How do you start thinking about the brand? And that's why I invited an expert in that. It's Manuel Becvar. Hello, Manuel.
Hello, Augustus. Thanks for having me again. I want to apologize right away. I'm in Miami, and I was actually thinking that I have perfect internet access, but we tried a few times, also yesterday, and my internet here is very, very slow. So I apologize for this, guys. I switched even rooms. I tried to find better Wi-Fi, but couldn't get better Wi-Fi. So I did my best, and I hope connection will be stable from here on. So I apologize.
So far, no problem with your connection. And Manuel, probably a lot of people know you from IMPORTDOJO.com website. And I think you are known as a sourcing, sourcing agent or expert.
I have a sourcing company.
Yeah. And, and how come you started to be interested in educating people about brands?
Well, people ask me, I have this online site, IMPORTDOJO.com. I have courses on there on how to source from China and how to sell on Amazon. And then I realized people don't need to just learn how to sell on Amazon, but actually, build an actual brand. Because, okay, you're selling on Amazon, and then what's next, And I saw that there's no material out there or content out there really that talks about building a brand, including all details like banking, incorporation, product branding, photography, packaging, of course, manufacturing, social media, influencer marketing, and so on. So yeah, I put this together, and we released the course a bit over a month ago, and it was a great success, the launch. People really love it. There's lots of value in there, lots of content. And yeah, I just, I wanted to bring something more, not just another content on PPC or optimization, because yes, Amazon is one thing and it's a very great platform, but you need to look at the bigger picture. And if you're in this for the long run, you really need to look into building brands or a brand.
Yes, and recently we have so many stories and talks about Amazon account suspension and how important it is to create your business which is diversified in different sales channels, e-commerce channels. And of course, if you have a strong brand, Amazon will not make a big harm if they suspend you. Well, they will make, of course, they will get profits, but still you will be surviving with your brand. All right. And so you are in Miami. I think you normally live in Hong Kong, right?
That's correct. But recently I'm 50–60% of the time in Hong Kong, and the rest I'm in Thailand, because Hong Kong rents are ever increasing. It's a very expensive city. It's getting really crowded and polluted also. And yeah, I missed more space, living space and quality of life. So I spend a lot of my time also in Thailand, because my wife is Thai. So we have an apartment there, and I travel every other week to Hong Kong.
Nice.
Yeah, Hong Kong is still a great city.
I completely forgot to ask everyone if you can hear and see us perfectly. I can hear Manuel perfectly. And if you confirm that everything is all right on your end, I think we can just jump to the slides. And so I will wait a few seconds while people are responding in the chat. This time the chat is, in order to be in the chat, you have to connect with your Google account. I hope it's not a problem. I get some notification that connection is good, quality is good. Yes, all good. David is saying, All right, so I think we shouldn't waste more time and let's jump to the slides.
All right, let me start my screen share, and you let me know if everything is okay.
Yes, we can see your screen perfectly.
I'm presenting through the PDF because the PowerPoint would take up too much bandwidth.
And so everyone who's here with us, please listen to Manuel's presentation. If you have questions, just type in the chat at any time. I will be copying them in a separate place, and we will go through the questions first come, first serve in this order. So yeah, whenever you have questions, just type in and we will attend them later. So
all right, I'll get started. Augustus, you just tell me if there's a problem with the slides or audio. You just let me know, all right?
All right, thanks.
All right, good. So yeah, welcome also again from my side. Today I want to talk to you about building your brand beyond Amazon, how to build an actual true brand. So just a quick about me. Well, my name is Manuel. I'm born Austrian and I've been living and working in Hong Kong since 2005. I used to work as a buyer product manager for the second largest retailer in Germany, which was called Rewe Far East. They sent me there in 2005. And I was supposed to go back after an internship, actually, but fell in love with the city, with the vibe, and the business opportunities. So I stayed in Hong Kong, and I had different stations before I ended up again as a product manager at the same company. So I worked also for a lighting company, for an actual factory, and also for a trading company. So in these years, from 2005 to, well, until 2014, when I actually started my own company, I learned a lot about the manufacturing process in China, negotiating prices. I went with the buyers to the trade shows, but also to the factories. And yeah, in general, just learned a lot about the process in China. In 2014, I started my own company, which is called Mandarin Gear. It's a consumer products company, initially with electronics, but then also added regular consumer products like household items, also virtual reality items, and a couple other items. So I started actually out selling to retail because that was my background, since I was working for a retailer for over 16 years until then. And I didn't even know that Amazon was doing third-party selling. I thought Amazon is selling all by themselves. Then in August 2014, I started selling on Amazon myself with a virtual reality brand. And yeah, I also had a lot of retailers, and because I was also a trading company in a way, I had a lot of clients who did not know the process on how to import from China. So instead of explaining it every time in the emails and phone calls, I decided to start a blog, which is called IMPORTDOJO.com. It's more like an educational site. And I started writing a guideline, which then turned out into a 65 pages ebook, which is called the Import Bible. Read it or heard about it before. And yeah, so IMPORTDOJO is an educational site that I started in 2015, where I currently have about 800 students. But we also have an open group. I have a blog on there where you can learn about Amazon, e-commerce, brand building, importing from China, and a lot more. So feel free to check it out. I'm also selling, so I'm selling physical products on Amazon, but also in retail. I also sell in different markets, not just in America. For example, I also sell on different marketplaces like Lazada in Thailand and Indonesia. And I also have 2 products now live in Germany. So it's really all about many channels as possible. But I'll get into that in the next slide. So before I start to explain how to build a brand, I want to give you a few examples on why you should be building a brand from the start. But if you're already running a couple of products, it's still not too late to work on building your brand. So when I launched my case study last year, I had a case study about a French press where I showed people the entire process from manufacturing to shipping it to Amazon and launching the product. When I launched that case study, I thought, this is it, my course is complete, and I never really have to help people again. And the course was a great success, and people loved it. But there were a lot of changes in the last few months. especially with the recent Amazon TOS change and the fact that more and more Chinese factories are coming to Amazon, everyone who wants to keep his business going needs to change and really adapt to the new low-cost competition from the Far East. I'm sure you've heard it. I mean, Amazon and e-commerce is growing and growing. And yeah, a few weeks ago, I read that Jeff Bezos is now the second richest man in the world. He wasn't even in the top 30. And I think that pretty much says it all where e-commerce is going. Consumers, and especially the millennials, will buy everything online in a few years from now. Be it on Amazon, Facebook, or other sites, e-commerce really is the future. I mean, retail shouldn't be discounted and will always have a share in the market, but only the biggest players will survive. And those brick and mortar or smaller retailers that don't go into e-commerce now, they will disappear in 2 or 3 years. So the best thing about e-commerce is that you can actually build a brand much faster than it used to be. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, you needed huge budgets for marketing, advertisement, TV spots, and so on. And nowadays, you can build a brand with a much smaller capital. When I started out selling on Amazon myself in late 2014, a lot of people already said, e-commerce is overcrowded, and even I was initially concerned. But as it turns out, as long as you have a unique rockstar product or complete product line, you can always stand out of the crowd and make money. It helps if you have social media following, email list, and an audience that already loves your brand. Last year, we saw a big increase in sellers, and that number nearly doubled in January 2017. Well, actually, it was December 2016, when Amazon allowed new sellers again. I'm sure you've heard it. They briefly shut down the registration program in October 2016 because they didn't want too many new sellers send in inventory, that would maybe not sell and burst their warehouses for Q4. And what's also interesting is that the marketplace is getting very, very competitive on generic products. Last year, in October, when I went to the shows in Hong Kong and China, I had a list of, over that I saw at the exhibition. And when I sat down in November to do research, I realized that I only had 2 to 3 items that weren't already selling on Amazon. So it's really getting saturated. And the key strategy for 2017 and onwards will really be having unique products, diversify, and branch out into other sales channels. Not only does the marketplace on Amazon get crowded, but by local sellers, but also more and more Chinese sellers. This is a screenshot I took from a website that Amazon actually set up. I mean, this is an example. Did you know that Amazon held a conference in Hangzhou, China last year in December to teach factories how to properly sell on Amazon.com? And even the vice president of global sales was there. And I'm not aware of any conference for us regular sellers like you or Augustus or anyone really listening in. So that really shows how much Amazon cares more about actual factories getting on Amazon and not the regular guy like you and me. So the key is to building an actual brand, not just on Amazon, but also outside of Amazon. And why does this matter? I mean, why would anyone want to move away from this very great platform? Why would you need a brand if your sales are great? And if you're happy with just selling on Amazon, that's fine. But if you're in for making a few thousand on the side, at least for the next month and possibly years, that's also okay. So, I mean, start building a brand on and off Amazon. Your own online store like Shopify or Magento or Squarespace.com, for example, and obviously other marketplaces like Walmart, Jet.com, eBay. I mean, there's so many out there, and don't just stick maybe to .com or US, but also North America, Canada, for example, or Europe or Japan. There's Rakuten in Japan, which is the biggest marketplace in Southeast Asia, actually. So there is a lot more, and obviously also in wholesale and locally if you can. I mean, just take a few samples of your products that you have on Amazon, for example, and go down to the local shop. And maybe if they have 20, 30 stores within the region, then maybe they could take 5 to 10 pieces for each store. So you can even sell locally. But many people also ask themselves, what if, I mean, Augustus and me talked about this earlier. with all the Chinese sellers that are coming in. So for those of you who want to do this in the long run and create an actual business, you need to build your brand on and off Amazon. And building your brand is creating true and lasting value that you own. I mean, this independence is crucial. And the best time to have started this would have been last year, and the second best time is now. And building a brand really, again, doesn't stop on Amazon. What I really want to drive here today to you is that you need to branch out into as many sales channels as possible. And yes, selling on Amazon will be essential, but it shouldn't be the only thing that you should be doing. So diversification is the key for a future-proof and sustainable business. Just remember that. All right, so now that I told you why building a brand is important, I also want to go through now. I actually want to tell you now how to build an actual brand. I mean, it takes years, and I've been building mine for 3 years, and I'm still nowhere near a big brand or even a medium-sized brand. Misconception that building a brand is difficult, and while in some cases that may be true, what you need to build a brand is actually two things. First of all, you need knowledge about your target market and audience, and the acceptance of the fact that building a brand is really a long-term strategy, and it doesn't happen tomorrow. I mean, big multinationals that we know, like Nike or Adidas or Apple, I mean, they have built the empire over decades, and the advantage that we have today is that all the tools and knowledge are out there to help you really get on the right track. And it is important not only to build a brand that's loved by its customers, but more importantly, a brand that you can really be proud of. So you need to have a unique story behind your brand, because a good story will always sell. This applies to brands, companies, and products. I mean, thousands of commercials are released every year. However, the ones that are really memorable and that I remember are the ones that either have a great product or they have a great story. I mean, when you look at all the commercials from Nike or Adidas, I mean, they're really just great stories. And that's what makes me keep want to buy them. So having a story behind your brand is really essential to distinguish yourself from the competition. In an era where technology is becoming an integral part of society, human connections and emotions are really becoming rare. So for this reason, adding a human touch to your brand can really help you connect with customers. Products are only one part of the business, and to have repeat customers or a fan base, you really need to connect with your audience. So you also need to create stunning or memorable logos. Like, the logo is such an integral part of a brand. It's the way your customers will recognize your brand after all. But a logo is more than a design. When choosing a logo, you need to make it appealing to the masses. So designs, colors, and graphics need to be complementary to achieve the desired result. And many sellers make the mistake of getting a logo done really cheap on a third-party website such as Fiverr.com. I mean, while I understand that you can't spend too much of your capital at the start, many sellers actually, unfortunately, don't put enough in the logo. Because your logo will go on everything your brand does, from marketing materials, websites, to your products, to the packaging, and so much more. So doing it right from the start is really vital. Choosing a product, the number one topic people are struggling with. Also, Augustus and me talked about this before. I mean, choosing a product is where most people struggle, but it is one of the most important parts, and we all know that. I mean, there was a time like 2-3 years ago where you can just go on Alibaba, pick any product in any market, and it would really sell well on Amazon. But it's just not the case anymore, because to truly succeed in a product-based business, you need products that are above the competition, a complete understanding of the market you're selling to, and you also need the ability to think outside the box and find opportunities, and obviously a brand that your customers love. Because this will give you the ability to create unique and innovative products that your market wants and loves. Big brands from the small ones is that they have a raving fan base willing to buy any product the company launches. So the most important aspect for me personally, or through my business, is to find a product to market fit, and that's what most people actually don't do. I trust my gut feeling, and sometimes I just went feelings, but as competition is increasing, it's getting tougher and tougher. So you can't just rely on your gut feeling anymore. You really need to do research in the market and find out if there is even demand, because I mean, the best thing would be to go into a mature market and not to reinvent the wheel. A product in a mature market doesn't even need to be expensive. Just give you an example. I told you earlier, I was into virtual reality, and one of my very first products on Amazon I did with a friend was in the virtual reality products category. And I'm a bit of a geek in virtual reality, and I'm in a few Facebook groups and forums, and I'm on Reddit and stuff like that. So, I lurk in the forums, and what I realized is that people were complaining about the headsets, the virtual headsets getting oily and dirty when they're shared in a group of people. When you're at the exhibition and you see the virtual reality headset, customers were complaining that it's oily because so many people already wore it before them. So I thought, why not put, like a cover on the headset inside? So nothing electrical, nothing complicated, just a piece of fabric, really. So I looked into developing a face mask out of cotton that you can just apply between the headset and the skin. I went to a textile factory that I know in China with the design and measurements, and I got a quote for 80 cents for a 3-piece set. And 2 months later, I sold them on Amazon for $19.99. And I really had zero costs on tools or molds. I mean, after all, it's just really a piece of textiles. What I'll tell you is go into the forums or Reddit groups that talk about the products or categories you have passion for, and really look what people need. I mean, yes, look at identifying flaws and competitive products and, making your product better and Amazon reviews and all that. But don't just trust your gut feeling, and don't just try to develop something that you think people need. You really think that people actually need, not just what you think they need. So you need really the product to market fit. Very important also is product branding. Branding a product is important because, one, it really improves the customer's perception of your brand, and it generates more sale. And it makes your brand more recognizable as you release more products and, when you get more exposure. Because, I mean, for example, I'll be talking about retail in the next few slides. Also, when you're selling to retail, you need very nice packaging. And as we say in German, good packaging is half brand. That's more or less literally translated, but I think you know what I mean. So when it comes to branding, customers really judge the book by its cover. So your branding needs to be exceptional to generate more sales on your products. Photos are so super important, and I still see it on Amazon, and I don't understand. People just use, a photo enhancement or Photoshop and just really poor photos. Why not invest a couple $100 and you have good photos on there, maybe a hero shot or an environmental picture with your product? Because having great photos is really essential to show the visual aspects of your products. And if you're just using a cheap service to enhance your photos, that's not going to work, because great photos will really help you sell your product, especially on Amazon, where customers often look at the photos to determine if they should make the purchase or not. So if you don't use external marketing methods such as YouTube videos, which I do sometimes, for example, I use a couple of reviewers on YouTube to showcase the features of the product, chances are that great photos are really your only way of attracting customers to your brand. I know many people will say, well, Manuel, we already know that, but I also know that many people still don't do good product photography. So when it comes to selling products, most sellers only focus on the product itself. Realize the product packaging is also part of your product, and this applies especially if you rely heavily on marketing or expand and wholesale, for example, like I said earlier. Again, look at YouTube, for example. A lot of product review channels put a lot of focus on a brand's packaging. What this means is that good packaging will help you sell more of your product. It's really that simple. And another thing to note is that great packaging can also help get more positive feedback or reviews on Amazon, for example, because these days online shoppers, they purchase a lot of products at any given time, and making sure that the packaging really wows the customers, I'm pretty sure they're more likely to remember your brand and probably comment also positively on the experience or maybe on the feedback on the Amazon reviews. So again, great brands put a lot of effort in making their product look good, and so should you. I mean, so should anyone, really. What's also important is insert cards and marketing material, and I see a lot of people making this mistake not to include marketing material or insert cards. And I'm not just talking for Amazon, also if you're selling on Shopify, for example. I mean, you already made the sale, the customer already has your packaging in hand, and now you have the chance to bind a customer for the future and get even another sale. So it's vital that you really include marketing material or insert cards inside your packaging. You know, you could give people a candy to sign up for your website newsletter, like a discount on the next purchase, maybe a free ebook or a recipe book if you're selling some household or kitchen product, or even an extended warranty. You also build an email list, and every time you launch a new product, you already have a list where you can sell your products to, and you know, you can kickstart your launch. You don't just need PPC. But so building an email list is really essential, not just for Amazon, but also for your own store, like Shopify, for example, which brings me to the next slide. Why is it so important to having your own store? I mean, there is nothing, and I can tell you from my own experience, there's nothing more rewarding than when you're starting a brand from scratch and having them come to your own store to purchase your product. And it takes a while until you actually get traffic to your own store. But while e-commerce is fun and exciting, there are really a couple challenges that you need to overcome before you start getting sales on your own shop. Because having your own site is a lot of work, and you need to get traffic to your store. You need to find the right platform to sell your product. You need to have a blog that connects with your readers and maybe your fan base if you have one already. You need to set up payment processes. You need to take care of shipping, storage, and logistics. But really, once you've set up your own store, it's a pure blessing, because you are in control of your products, your prices, and most importantly, your customers, and not Amazon. And that's really the main feature, because you can really, and you don't need to worry that anyone's going to suspend you. So having your own store, also start a blog and talk about your product's niche. For example, if you're selling an outdoor product, I don't know, talk about hiking or things in that nature. You don't even need to be a writer. I mean, you can just look to other sites or blogs that talk about outdoor or camping or whatever, then word it in your own words. I mean, obviously, I don't want you to copy other people, but you can create your own content in time. You can put together information and, you know, just write reviews maybe about products also. And while it takes time to build a followership, I mean, it took me, I don't know, I started IMPORTDOJO 2015, March, so that's a bit more than 2 years. And I have, I don't know, about 8,000 subscribers, and it took 2 years to get to that stage. And I know some people do it in much faster time, and some people take even longer. But remember, it takes time, and it's not a sprint, it's really a marathon. As soon as possible. And what's very closely connected to e-commerce really is social media marketing and influencer marketing. Social media has become an essential platform in today's society. Which not to market on social media networks really go unnoticed. And this is why you need to be on social media as soon as possible. Because, I mean, no other tool really has the directly find and target your ideal audience. Social media is constantly growing and evolving, which makes it really a great tool to showcase your brand and products. And most of it is for free. I mean, if you post something on Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest, it's free, and it's just one click. And the great advantage really about social media is that your brand can really quickly get noticed. And a few years ago, I mean, your brand would go unnoticed unless you're really willing to drop thousands of dollars in, I don't know, traditional marketing methods such as billboards, commercials, or QVC, that shopping channel. Social media really gives you the ability to quickly gain a fan base and attract the right audience for your brand. It takes a long time to get a following, and some people give up in the middle and then just let it go. But there's so many social media networks today, make it a confusing process, and that's why I think a lot of people give up in somewhere on the way, because after 3 months I don't have 5,000 followers yet, you know. So that's why it's so important to start today if you don't have any social media channels yet. Just to give you another example on one of my products, a few months ago, I launched a new virtual reality product, and I found an influencer who had over 250,000 subscribers on his YouTube channels, on his one YouTube channel. So in case you're wondering, I find my influencers on famebit.com. So if you want to mark that down, look up famebit.com. This guy also had some other channels, but he did a review for me on YouTube. And on the day that I launched and he published the review, I think I did over 80 pieces in sale on my very first day. And I think in the first week, I did over 200 pieces just because of his review. In case you're wondering, I paid him $500. He also needs to say that he's being sponsored, but it's all a very clear transaction. Some influencers charge less, sometimes they charge more. It really depends on how big their reach is. And now imagine if you had a channel of 200,000, maybe 50,000 or 10,000 subscribers, and they're all in your niche. Just imagine how easy it would be to really launch a product without relying on PPC. Because the thing with PPC is that it is a constant cost. And you make a sale, you pay. And for a new sale, you need to pay again. But with social media or influencer marketing, you pay one time, like the $500 I paid this guy, and then the post or the review or whatever he does or wherever he posted on his channel, it's always up there on that site. And what is even better is that if you link that review with your site, so you tell the reviewer or the influencer to link it also to your site, you even get better SEO rankings on Google, and you climb up the Google ladder. And Google is doing all the work for you for ranking your product and sending you traffic to, I don't know, Facebook shop or your Amazon store or even your Shopify store, for example. So when you have your own large social media following, you can always launch a product at zero costs. So again, get it done today. Get all the channels like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Get it started right from the beginning and build it slowly, but it takes time. It takes time, yeah, that's for sure, but possible. Also an important part of building a brand at some point is inventory storage. Logistics are, a very important part of the e-commerce business. While, when FBA came out, it made things a lot easier for sellers, but there are a lot of disadvantages for sellers who are looking to expand beyond the Amazon platform. Because, for example, their storage fees are increasing year on year. In the very busy seasons like Christmas, they charge a multiple of what they charge during the year. They have so many packaging requirements. You can't really do a custom branding on your shipping box. And there's a lot of other fees that really reduce your profit margins when you sell through Amazon FBA. Don't get me wrong, FBA is great. And if you only plan to sell on Amazon, that's okay, because, yeah, it's just okay. But that's not really the goal when you're building a brand. The goal of a brand, aside from having great products, is to expand into other sales channels and have control over pricing and profits. There's a lot of fulfillment centers out there, and they can integrate with Amazon and any really other e-commerce platform, making the selling process and shipping extremely easy. Just on top of my head, there's shipbob.com, for example. I use them for fulfillment, and they also ship within 1 or 2 days sometimes. So it's really easy, and it makes life a lot better for you. You should always store your inventory in FBA if you're selling on Amazon, because it doesn't make sense if you have your own e-commerce store. Having a third-party service that integrates with your store is really vital to make the customer shopping experience easy and pleasant as much. But you can do multi-channel fulfillment through Amazon if you want, of course. Amazon does that. It's just more expensive than storing at a third-party fulfillment center. And you will also want to minimize your risks during the busy periods, such as the Christmas season, the holiday season, where inventory management will really be the key to having a successful Q4. And having an advantage over your competitors for your business and your brand to succeed, because having a great product that your audience loves is only part of the equation. packaging, marketing materials, and shipping boxes can really enhance the customer experience and elevate your brand also. And I mean, while Amazon provides the multi-channel fulfillment service, they don't really do much in terms of custom packaging. For example, if you want to offer special shipping boxes during the Christmas period, or if you want to send a sample to a retailer in your custom packaging that will help you close a deal with the retailer, Amazon multi-channel fulfillment, you can't really do that. But if you work with an inventory storage facility, they can do that. They offer you the option of customizing your order. And really by doing this, you create an experience for the buyer, which is really unmatched by your competition. And it's at a fraction of the cost. So in any business, it's really vital to find companies that work in your best interest. And Amazon doesn't always work in your best interest. At least that's what I feel sometimes. Which brings me to retail and wholesale. I mean, the ultimate goal of any brand or company is really to get the products in front of as many customers as possible. And one way to do this is by listing your products through, I mean, it's actually by listing your products through all the sales channels that are available to brands. And one of the most powerful sales channels is because retail has the power to move your product really quickly and getting you huge exposure for your brand and products in very short time. I mean, I admit it's very tough to get into retail. It's one of the hardest sales channels to get into. For example, I was working on one customer for over 1.5 years, but when he placed that order, I made $30,000 in profits in one day. Obviously, there's a lot more work after that, and I have to follow up the order and everything. But it just really pays for my entire expenses with this one order that I get from this retailer. And the best part is that with retailers and wholesale, you constantly get reorders. And in most cases, the reorders are bigger than the first order. And it's beautiful because you don't have to do much on a reorder. Everything's clear already. You just need to place the order with the existing conditions to the factory, and then they can just go ahead. So only be appealing to consumers, but packaging and marketing materials have to be of a really higher standard than e-commerce if you're selling to retail. But one thing that's really a challenge with retailers is that they're willing to take on a new brand and its products. And if you just have a white packaging, you don't really have a brand that you can sell, it's not going to work with retailers. So because they don't take risks with their capital and they prefer to invest in brands that are already established. And larger items also have the issue of shelf space, for example, which in retail, as we know, is limited. A mistake can be fatal to your brand. So your pitch has to be perfect, and you also need to contact the right people within your company. If your brand is already established on Amazon or other e-commerce websites, you will want to sell your products into retail and wholesale. So how to find these retailers? I mean, the first thing you do is, just off the top of my head, I'm Austrian, so I know in Austria there's a couple of retailers and wholesalers, and I think I can think of that I know of. And so can you probably. If you're based in California or in Germany, you probably know the retailers around you. You shouldn't contact the biggest ones like Walmart or Target or Carrefour, because it will be difficult to get in there. But start with smaller retailers that maybe have 30 to 50 stores in your area. And if you don't know how to find those retailers, just Google it. There are really sites out there who do constant reviews on the largest retailers, on the medium size, and on the small retailers. You can just literally Google it, and you will get lists of hundreds of retailers that you can potentially contact. And then create a catalog of your products and your company. I mean, it doesn't have to be a fancy catalog, just a few pages of introduction, who you are, what your company is doing, and then, a few product pages. And yes, you could basically just send a link to your Amazon store, but a nicely made catalog shows the effort and really goes a long way. So try getting a product manager or a buyer on the phone. Prepare yourself with a cold call guideline. You can also just Google, for example, cold call guideline, and then you find great examples on how to do a cold call if you don't know how to do that, or if you're scared of cold calling people. But cold calling is really the only way to do it, because these buyers of the big companies, of the retailers, the wholesalers, they get constant emails from suppliers around the world, and most of the time when they get the email, it moves into the trash. So the cold call guideline, call, and then you can follow up with an email, for example, but calling is super important. Or, for example, get an appointment and show up with samples. Or, yeah, you can do it through the phone and email. And be persistent, but not annoying, and follow up with the interested buyers. To find wholesalers, for example, is actually quite simple. If you're selling decorative items, just go on to the website of the Ambiente exhibition in Frankfurt, Germany, which is the largest decorative items fair in the world. And there you can just look at the exhibitors list. There's always, every exhibition has a link that says exhibitors list. And you click on that, and you could find potential wholesale companies, and they even have address, phone number. Sometimes they have the email addresses on there. So, look through these and see if they could be in line with your products, and contact them the same way as you would contact retailers. And I know what you're thinking, this must be a lot of work, but you can actually outsource that, most of that. I'll get to that in a little bit actually anyway. So yes, again, try and get your product into as many channels as possible, online and offline. So moving forward, let's say you've successfully built a brand from scratch, you launched a couple of products and sales are great. So what's really the next step? I mean, great brands and companies are able to replicate the same strategy and success over multiple markets constantly. And now is the time really about expanding, diversifying, and most importantly, establishing your brand as an authority in your target market, not just on .com or .de, but also in other countries. And yes, Amazon really might be the e-commerce leader. However, there are really other channels where you can list your products and help your brand get more visibility and obviously sales. I mean, yeah, there are many other marketplaces like eBay, Jet.com, Walmart, or Sears, for example. Even though Sears might not be the right choice at the moment, I don't think they're doing so well. But anyway, yeah, just don't stop also in your country. I mean, if your product sells well on Amazon.com, why not go into Europe? There's, I think it's 7 markets in Europe right now, or even Japan. And Japan also has, I mentioned this earlier, Rakuten is the largest marketplace in Japan, and you can get also your products, if they're working on Amazon, why not try selling them on other marketplaces? I told you earlier, for example, I sell my products in Lazada in Southeast Asia. Lazada belongs to this German company, Rocket Internet, I think it is, and they are the largest marketplace within Southeast Asia. I mean, Indonesia has over 200 million people, and you can imagine what the numbers are there. So the opportunities are really, really endless, and you don't need to do all this work by yourself. Like I said earlier, you can also outsource this to virtual assistants, which really brings me to the last point of the presentation, outsourcing. Outsourcing is really the fastest and cheapest way business without hiring any full-time employees. I mean, I, for example, have hired full-time employees because I also have a sourcing company. But if you don't feel the need for a full-time employee, you can outsource this to virtual assistants. And there's loads in India or in the Philippines, for example, and they're doing an excellent job. It's possible to be good at everything, and you must leverage the expertise of other people. I mean, even me, like a year ago, I was really struggling to keep up because I was doing almost everything myself, from photography to listing to, the launch, everything. And probably because I thought only I can do the things I do. But you know what? My employees or the virtual assistant, they do them just as good and sometimes even better. And that really freed up a lot of my time, and I can now focus on the most important part of the business, which is the company's future strategy and making money. All right. That's about it. That's pretty much it. I do want to offer you guys a special deal. We have a Q&A coming up, but I do want to offer you a special deal that isn't available anywhere else. So I mentioned in the beginning that I have courses on my site about importing from China, certifications and requirements. And just recently, I told you earlier, I launched my brand evolution course. So it is pretty much everything, how I built my brand from scratch, giving you all the details and showing you step by step how to build a brand and master not just importing from China, but also business incorporation, selling on Amazon, selling on other marketplaces, social media, influencer marketing, or really how to contact retailers. I mean, I show you in a couple of videos, for example, how you can effectively contact retailers. There's a lot of templates. Anyway, a lot more. So if you're interested, just follow this link below and apply the coupon code PROMOALL. And I think that's it. Augustus, I think we go into the Q&A section. So if you have any questions, you can also mail me, mail@importdojo.com or importdojo.com. Are you there, Augustus?
Yes, everything is good. I think from your side there were no tech issues, and thanks a lot for this fundamental information about brands. What was interesting for me that you mentioned that Amazon had a special conference for manufacturers in China. It's amazing to know.
Yes, this anyone, but like I said, you can really tell by how much Amazon cares about getting actual factories onto Amazon, because obviously the factories have the best price, and that's one of Amazon's main things. They always stand for the best price, maybe also for the customer service, but who gives them the best price will be the manufacturers.
And yes, you mentioned choosing a product. I'm at the moment in this paralyzed state. I have problems to find the first product. Everything looks either not suitable for Amazon, or I don't think it can be sold, or it's not interesting to me. So it's really, it's a disease, I would say. So anyone who's listening, yeah.
Every second or third email that I get is about how can I find the right product. And just quickly, we also talked about this before. For you guys listening, finding your own product, you have to do it yourself. Last year, I offered a service where I gave 16 products ready products that I sourced myself with the intention I could have done them all myself, but I wanted to offer this service to my students. And then when I offered them, many did not go through with it. And then I realized, because you have to go through the process of finding the reasons why this is the product for you. And no one else can help you with that. I mean, there's guidelines on how to find good products, and I have some on my blog too. But you need to pull the trigger, and at some point, as Scott Welker always says, take action.
And some people were referring to what you were talking. They were asking, what was exactly the website address for finding social media influencers?
Famebit.com.
Famebit, yeah. So someone...
FAMBIT.com, written together.
Famebit.
I've used some of the influence there.
Yeah, someone has guessed correctly. And another person was asking, what was the fulfillment center you mentioned when you talked about FBA and fulfillment centers?
Yes, that's ShipBob, ShipBob.com. They integrate with Amazon and Shopify and all the other big sites.
Okay, put in the chat. Another question which was here. Any tips where to get good templates to approach retailers?
Yes, in my course. Well, there's templates like emails that you can find also on my blog. But I mean, the actual real good stuff, I'm not giving away for free usually. I do give a lot away for free, but it took me a long time to put together. If you're just looking for a cold call guideline, you can really get that anywhere on the internet. Templates for retailers, I don't think you find anywhere easily. You can Google it, but... I have them on my site also.
Can you shortly go through what do you have in that brand building course or brand evolution course? So it's not only how to create a logo and photos. Can you just shortly go through the content?
Sure. Do you want me to screen share? But that would probably make everything very slow.
Yes, maybe let's try. Or yeah, as you wish.
Okay. Let me just pull up the site first. You're muted.
Michael is asking, when using an influencer, what are the qualifications you look for?
Right. First of all, I look if he is working in the niche that that I want to sell to, because if I'm selling a virtual reality product, and for example on FameBit, you create a campaign which is very easy. You write down what you're looking for. You set a budget maybe for yourself, and then influencers can apply for that job. But sometimes the influences to your product at all. So, for example, like I said, that virtual reality thing that I sold, there's some influencers reaching out to me who were in India. Well, I'm selling on Amazon.com with this product, so I don't need an influencer in India, or I don't need one in the UK. I need one in the US. Then I also look at his profile. So, for example, on FameBit, when that influencer applies for the job, you can look at all his social media profiles. So you can see how many followers he has, and don't just stop there. I mean, really go onto his, for example, Instagram account and look at the accounts. Are the accounts fake, or is it weird names and stuff? Because many influencers really accounts with fake followers. So also look into, obviously not all the thousands of followers they have, but take a look at maybe 5 or 10. And that's only when you already narrowed down the decision. So if an influencer reaches out to me and says, well, I have a channel that basically only talks about virtual reality, I mean, he's perfect for me. If he's maybe talking about trendy electronic things, maybe he's also interesting for me. But in the first case, I really want someone who is really talking about my products on a regular basis. And yeah, check out the follower profiles and make sure that it's not fake profiles. And most importantly, only work with influencers who have followers in your market. Because when you go on FameBit, for example, you can also see where his followers are based. For example, 80% US and 20% UK would also make sense. But if someone has 90% followers in Morocco or India, it doesn't really make sense.
I didn't really know that there might be really fake channels where they just monetize to a fake audience.
Yes.
All right. So someone is asking, how much is the brand evolution course? You had it on the slide. Maybe you just tell the numbers.
I think we offered 20% off. Original price is $797. But with the link, and I think you have the link also, Augustus?
Yes, I posted in the chat. So it's, yeah, Augustus.
So when you guys follow this link and then input the coupon code, you get 20% off from $797, which is a total of $637. And you get the entire courses that I offer. You get 2 hours of consultation, one with me and one with my business partner in crime, who is a social media and influencer specialist and also e-commerce specialist. Check out the site. Maybe you want me to go quickly through it?
Yes. So when while you are switching to share your screen with the content, I wanted to say that I myself looked at Manuel's course, and I thought that like it will take like one evening to look through the content, but I could look just maybe in a couple of weeks. I could look just at 3 modules out of 8, because some modules are really like had so much content, and yeah, Manuel is explaining with his partners how to even where to incorporate your business. This was also interesting for me. Even you are not building a brand, maybe for online business, it's also interesting to hear different countries where you can save taxes and and so on.
There's a lot more. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so there's the IMPORTDOJO Masterclass, which has been already up. So if you buy the Brand Evolution, you get the IMPORTDOJO Masterclass included and also the certification course. So the IMPORTDOJO Masterclass has been up for a while. Each course has different modules. For example, manufacturing, Alibaba, shipping, going to China, and there's also my famous case study from China to Amazon. So if people are interested, these are introduction videos. They are for free. You can look at them. And if you sign up, for example, you get access to the IMPORTDOJO Masterclass, which is, in this case, Module 6 is the case study. That's the one that I did last year, where I really showed and the entire process from finding the product to launching it on Amazon and becoming the #1 bestseller actually with this product on Amazon. And as you can see, there's a lot of chapters here where if you're not sure how to source from China, this is all you need. And here's the videos down there. If you're not signed up, you can't see them, but you can look at the introduction videos first. But you can look through all the information here that you can see what you find in this course. Then when I launched the Brand Evolution a month ago, I also included a certification course. And this is a topic that most people either ignore or they don't know about it, or they don't find material online. And this course is really the only course that you find online that talks about certification. So there's 8 modules, and in each module there's about 5 to 10 videos in each. So where I, for example, explain guidelines, directives, certification. Then, for example, in Europe, I go through all the regulations that you need in Europe, or for example, all the regulations that you need in North America. And the best part about it is, for example, I talk about GPSD or ECDOC or EMC, I mean, regulations that your products need to meet. And the same goes for the United States. For example, MSDS sheet, FDA, FCC, and there's all the videos where I explain them. But the best part really of this course is the PRP, or Product Requirement Profile. So I've put together testing plans for 27 product categories. So for example, if you are selling a kitchen product, this is all you need. It's a PDF that you get, and obviously there's a video explaining the PDF down here. Maybe I can also show this for a minute here. Can you still see my screen, Augustus?
Yes, we can see it perfectly.
All right. So for example, I've created a, let me see, where's the kitchen and household kitchen product, for example. So within this course, you get 27 test plans that tells you exactly what you need for your product. So for example, if you have a garlic press, a French press, Tupperware, food container, and obviously similar products that fall into that category, so I list all the regulations that you need to meet and what kind of requirement that you need. For example, requirements, packaging requirements. You get a lot of templates in there, self-declarations, and I explained the entire process. And the same for the US, for example, kitchen helpers. So again, yeah, for this course you get 27 product categories. Everyone can look at it, what you can get in there. And yeah, there's 2 more modules where I do a case study, and also where I show a couple of third-party testing laboratories with contacts and how to check and validate certifications and suppliers. So that's the certification part.
And certification is included in Brand Evolution if someone is purchasing the big package?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. And in the Brand Evolution, basically what I just talked about in the presentation, but a lot more detail. So again, you can look at the introduction videos. They're all for free. Also down here, you will find all the introduction videos. And we have, I think, 11 modules. So the first one is Brand Evolution Essentials, how to find innovative products. And that's a 45-minute module. There's, I think, 8 videos in there that really help you to find out how you can find the right product to market fit, which I talked about. Then we have building a brand, business incorporation, choosing a product, manufacturing, e-commerce, social media, Amazon, a lot more. For example, the retail and wholesale, moving forward, product branding, and so on. If you look at retail and wholesale, I tell you how to find retailers, creating company presentation, how you contact them, how you do margin calculation, templates, what you should say to promote your products, contracts and agreements, cold call guidelines, email templates. So yeah, there's a lot in there, and it's a lot of detail also. That's pretty much it. I mean, just check it out on the link that Augustus already posted, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Okay, Michael is asking, that is, well, he says that's cool about your brand evolution course, and he says, how often is this updated, or is the information good for how long it is good? Because as we all know, things change so fast.
Yes, so the brand evolution and certificate course is 1 month old, so it's super new. The masterclass is already 1 year old, but I do update the chapters in there if anything changes. For example, the TOS changed last year, or the review thing that you couldn't use the reviewers anymore. I update this in the course. And also the certification course, for example, if there is a new directive or regulation coming out, I also update this in the course. So it's always up to date if it's a major change. So it's, yeah, again, it's up to date.
Yeah, Michael says that, for example, the product requirements information which you have just shown. So if there will be a change, you will update the documents, obviously.
Correct, yes.
And you said that people can have one-on-one coaching, but besides that, do they get access to you via email or Facebook group?
There's I mean, all the details, what's included is under the link that I think you're sending out. So you can see everything what's included. Just briefly, so the courses, then you get the Facebook group, a private Facebook group. You get 2 hours coaching with me and my business partner, Duncan. Plus, I give you access to me on Skype and of course also through email. And I usually, even if we finish the coaching call, I mean, I'm usually there all the time. So I always answer if someone has a quick question or even a longer question. I'm happy to hop on a short call, or just type on Skype, and usually I respond within 24 hours.
And
so I am there.
The course updates are included in the price, which is offered.
Yes, it's like lifetime access.
Mm-hmm. All right. So yeah, the price was $797 minus 20% with the promo code PROMOALL.
That's correct.
Okay. And Hrdiva was asking, what do you suggest if we want to source from somewhere other than China?
Mm-hmm. The process is pretty much the same everywhere. I mean, no matter if I'm buying from India or Bangladesh or Vietnam, the process is always the same. You need to verify your suppliers. You need to collect information about your supplier and then make the right decision. The same goes, for example, Eastern Europe. There's a lot of factories in Eastern Europe. So again, the process is always the same. The regulations of where you're importing to also don't change. If you're looking to go into India or Bangladesh, I mean, these countries are not as developed as China. China is still the world's #1 factory, and the infrastructure in China is just amazing. I mean, you have the packaging factory, down the road is the raw material supplier, and at the end of the road, there's the assembly factory. And there is so many ports and shipping areas, so everything's very efficient. But for example, when you buy from India, but some products can only be bought from India or Bangladesh, for example, I mean, the process is the same. Just sometimes you have to do better verification and collect information on the suppliers.
And is there some trick to find the suppliers, or you just have to search internet, or maybe there are some directories?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can go on Alibaba or globalsources.com, but also dhgate.com is a good directory. Most of the suppliers are actually on Alibaba. Even when you're going into Pakistan or India, or like I said, Bangladesh or Vietnam, they actually are listed on Alibaba, for example. You just have to look. They usually mention the country where they're from.
Mm-hmm. I just came up with another question about your course. Do you offer a money-back guarantee, like some
Yes,
people
of
do?
course. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked.
So great. So there is no risk basically if you're
No
not
risk.
satisfied. All right. I don't see any other questions. And actually, I wanted to ask you about social media strategy. So it's very important part of brand building. And what is the strategy? So basically, you create, let's say, a Facebook page, and you employ virtual assistant to search for content and paste it every few hours, something like that?
That's pretty much the process. I mean, everyone should try to do it by himself, maybe in the beginning. And then when it really gets a lot, when you're having traction on your brand and on your sales, then I suggest you hire someone to do social media marketing for you. I mean, there's lots of companies on the internet out there who, post content maybe every other day or maybe once a week, and they don't just copy stuff from the internet. They are content writers, and they schedule the social media posts, and they make sure that you get noticed with your brand, because it takes a long time to build a brand. And if you don't want to hire someone, maybe do it from in the beginning yourself. I mean, you can get great photos, for example, that you can use for commercial use on pexels.com, pexels.com. You can get great content on any blog, really. I mean, don't copy it. Just have it in your own wording, and schedule a post maybe in the beginning every week or so. One is enough. If you want to do it twice, that's even better. But do it consistently. Don't give up after 3 months because you don't have 500 followers yet. It takes some time. And I mean, for me, for example, I started with social media for my brand, I think 3 years ago. But I really started working on building the social media maybe a year ago, and now, like 3-4 months ago, it really started to help me when I launch a product or when I launch a digital product, for example. So it took nearly 2 years it took 1.5 years to make me realize how important it is. And then when I really started working on it, it took another 6-7 months, and then you can see results after 6-7 months. So it's really important to just start and be consistent bringing content.
And when someone is building a brand, of course, this is growing the value of the company. Do you have any tips of what to think for a brand builder if they start the business right now? What would be your suggestion in terms of business? What kind of entity to have? Is it okay to start as a single entrepreneur and see how it's going, and then maybe to register to continue that brand on the newly registered company, or you think it's better to start company, let's say, since the beginning?
I didn't have everything set up also in the beginning. So trademark came later, brand registry came later, the patents came later. In the very beginning was a limited company. So I think everyone can set up a company. I think these days, if you don't have a company on Amazon, if you don't have a company when you start selling on Amazon, I think they don't even accept you anymore, or you can't be a professional seller. I'm not sure at this moment. So that's the only thing I really recommend, that you have a registered company, because then you also have bank accounts and stuff like that, where you can ask Amazon to send your money to. But don't worry about patents and trademarks and brand registry and all that stuff. Make sure that you launch products first, and whatever comes later, because most people struggle with, they make a to-do list. Okay, I need all of this to build a brand. Now I need to do it all at the same time. No, you just do one step at a time. You launch your product, then you look into trademarks, then you look into better photos, better packaging. I mean, you don't have to have the best packaging from the beginning. If your capital is limited, just have a white box with a sticker and maybe a logo of your brand on it. I'm not saying you have to have it. So do one at a time, but at least have a registered company when you're starting out.
All right, and someone is asking again about social media. Where can I find somebody maybe in Asia who can take responsibility for social media content? That person says that creating a content is the hardest part.
Let me see. I think there's this site, virtualstafffinder.com, I think. Let me see if that's the one. Yes, virtualstafffinder.com. I've used them before. They have several people, maybe for Amazon back office work, for social media content, for I think listings and photography and stuff. So go check it out, virtualstafffinder.com. And they have a couple of people that can help you very low cost to get social media starting, to get the content going on.
Yeah, that person says thank you for the answer. And I think also you can try universal platforms like Upwork, freelancer.com, and also if you're interested in Filipinos, onlinejobs.ph, there is a website. So, but finding a virtual assistant, I think it's a long-term job. It's hard to find a good people.
Yes, my first two were not the best. And now I have one who's doing pretty much everything for me on Amazon, more or less. And it took a while. Just, you have to do your research. Everyone has to do the research and find one.
All right, so I think that's it for now. So anyone who is interested in checking out Manuel's course, Brand Evolution, just click the link, and which you will find in the chat or in the description of this video. And if you are interested in the course, you can still get a 20% discount with promo all code. And
if people have questions, just mail me at mail@importdojo.com. Happy to answer a question about brand building, importing from China, or any help in general.
And you do have Facebook group, which is public, not only for your customers. What is the name of this Facebook group?
It's called Master Sourcing from China. I can send you the link. You can also post it on YouTube, on the stream. But anyone I welcome everyone. So it's a free group. Here is, I posted in the chat, the link.
Okay. I think we'll have issues posting in the chat. It doesn't allow external links, but yeah. All right, good. And yes, I think it's nice to have Manuel always. And that's it. No more questions. We can wrap up this webinar. Anyone who is interested to reach out to Manuel, just write to his email, mail@importdojo.com. And goodbye for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.